the Dodgers named Will Smith.
Oh my gosh, Will Smith is amazing.
Yeah,
There's several Will Smiths in the best baseball world of
when he first came up from the
MLB.
minors, his walk-up music was the Fresh Prince theme.
That's right. That was so funny.
Fun fact.
Yes.
When I don't know if y'all know this about me, but when I was in middle school, I legitimately broke my face. I fell off of a trampoline. It does. It should explain so many things that you're like, huh, I wonder this is your answer. But I did a front flip on a trampoline, landed it, but then it like shot me off. And I went face first into a manhole cover. But don't worry, my face broke my fall. So like completely like shattered my face.
Line, haven't you?
Yeah. But when I was in the hospital and they were fixing my face, like literally sewing up my face and like pushing, like getting my teeth back where they were supposed to be, like it was a whole ordeal.
Ouch.
Though they had Fresh Prince of Bel-Air on replay. And that is how I learned all the words to the theme song.
Oh my God.
Is because I like couldn't speak to be like, hey, can we turn this off? Like change the channel. Now I realize it was a classic. I was too young to understand then. But yeah, I can't, but that's how I know that. So that's burned into my new.
I never knew that.
Will Smith gets a lot of flack for the slap, and I'm really sorry that one
The slap.
That one incident is like overshadowing such a remarkable career.
Well, and also that whole like the him and Jada thing. I mean, that was like going on for a while. The entanglement.
That never bothered me at all. I mean, I don't care what people do in their relationships. I mean, I could tell you stories about some of my relationships that would make that look hella tame. But
yikes.
Yeah.
That's what we need to do.
That's not going to be a podcast.
Let's have a dish sesh. OMG.
Anyway, hey y'all, we are live and we have been for a few minutes. You've just been watching us catch up with each other. It is the day before Earth Day. It is the 21st of April, 2023, and Earth Day is tomorrow. Actually,
it was yesterday.
Yes, it was not yesterday. That's true. As we record this, and as we are live here on the YouTube, it is already Earth Day in the Eastern Hemisphere, and so I know we have a lot of South Asian fans and people in the Middle East, and it's already Earth Day over there. So, Earth Day, I want to talk about Earth Day because we need more Earth Day. We should make like every Tuesday Earth Day, or every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, or just every day, because we desperately need this. Our planet is in distress, very much in distress, and we need to be taking a lot better care of it, as we need to be considering ourselves stewards of the planet, as opposed to however it is we look at it now, like the planet is there to serve us and to support us and to give us resources and to, power our petroleum engines and our coal burning furnaces and all of that. The way we are treating the earth today there's just no excuse for it. It's really, really horrible. I could go on and on about this subject for a very long time, and it wouldn't make a difference. But I want to talk about one thing in particular, which is sort of at the intersection of our common technology conversations and Earth Day, And that is that yesterday, SpaceX launched the biggest rocket ever. And of course, after a few minutes, it um, it performed what's known as a rapid unscheduled disassembly. It blowed up. But before it did that, it did a lot of damage to it. It was fine itself, but it did a tremendous amount of damage to the Earth. It left behind a a gigantic crater where the launch happened, and a lot of the material that had been in that crater, a lot of the debris that made that crater, ended up many kilometers away in the next town over, destroying property and leaving a film of toxic waste over a town full of people. Yeah, go ahead, Kirsten.
This kind of ties into your flying cars theory. I know that cars aren't as big as spaceships, but you don't take the right precautions or you don't have the right runway per se. This is what could potentially
This is very much the same thing. It's Newton's first law that to lift the heaviest rocket ever off of a launch pad, you need an equal and opposite force, which is just gonna, it's gonna do a lot of damage to the ground, against which it's pushing. And a very, very astute physics response from Kirsten. Houston, we have a problem.
I had to make up for my
Your Earth Day faux pas?
yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot nicer than what I was going to say, so we'll leave it at that.
Okay, yeah, everything sounds nicer in French, doesn't it?
It really does. C'est la vie. Laissez-faire.
Yeah.
Voulez-vous coucher avec moi?
Oh, I was about to say that.
That's the only French I know.
Aren't we going to do a pod? Oh, wait. Yeah.
So-
Aren't we going to do a podcast about Moulin Rouge, the musical?
Sont les mondes qui vont très bien ensemble. Sont les mondes qui vont très bien ensemble. Très bien ensemble. Yeah.
Nice.
All right. Back to English. Yeah, so this is part of a larger conversation about the stress between technology and the environment, which has always been. Some of the earliest technology was like creating aqueducts, and to create aqueducts you had to displace animals and vegetation, and you're displacing all of this other ecology to make the human world more convenient, right? Dams, where they stop a river, and all of the ecology downriver gets destroyed or changed, and all of the ecology above the dam gets turned into a lake. So that all gets changed. And then sometimes people build homes downstream from the dam thinking that the dam is going to protect them, and then it doesn't. And there have been cases of hundreds of thousands of people being killed by dams breaking. And this is all because we need more. Well, sometimes it's about water, sometimes it's about energy. I know that, Hoover Dam, which is near our world headquarters here in fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada, Hoover Dam is about generating electricity, and it's also about creating a reservoir for our water. And of course, both of those things are not doing so well these days. But this all comes down to human beings need to support our lifestyle at the expense of the earth. And this is not sustainable. This is not going to end well for humans. You know, if humans were logical, like Vulcans, then we would say, oh, we must change our behavior so that we may survive longer and our progeny will survive longer if we change our behavior now so that our children can have a better planet. And we don't seem to be able to think that far ahead. It's distressing, and it's very illogical. So if anybody out there is listening, I would love to hear your comments on this. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. I could just rant about this forever, but I'm going to run out of wind at some point. Kirsten.
Whenever you say, if anybody out there's listening, it sounds like we're lost, like in space, or like lost on a desert island, and we're like trying to contact somebody.
We're
like
lost
on a radio.
It's giving Tony Stark in the opening of I think it was Infinity War, where he's like talking into the video recorder of his headset or his helmet, and he's like, hey, if you're watching this, it means I'm dead and you found my helmet. I get this message to my wife. Do you remember that?
Spoiler alert.
Oh, well, yeah, spoiler alert. But I mean, it's been like 6 years.
Yeah. No, I watched all of the Marvel movies during the pandemic. I just set it upon myself to watch them all in order. And
why? Because we had nothing better to do.
That and everybody was talking about them, and I had never watched them.
For shame.
When I was a kid, the comic books that I read, I liked the Conan the Barbarian comic books, and I was a big fan of those comics. And when Arnold got cast as Conan for that first movie, I thought, I can't think of anybody more perfect for this role, because he literally looked like the comic book character. and he spoke like him. Conan the Barbarian, he didn't have a lot of words, and Arnold was perfect for that. But I digress. Yes, that's what I did during that, and I made music videos.
Yes.
I had a lot of fun doing that. Yeah, so I
have you posted your music videos anywhere?
Yeah.
On YouTube.
No, but like recently.
No, not recently.
Like
that's not true. We linked to one of your jazz sessions, the Elvis cover.
Oh, yeah, we did. Yeah, that was Teddy Bear.
Bears Blues. Yes.
Baby, let me be your loving teddy bear. Yeah, I like it at that tempo. It's I have no idea why they tried to make that a rock and roll song. It is so much sexier as a blues. So, yeah, we could do that. It's hard to get into Earth Day without getting into politics, because
hold on now. We can talk about the Earth without it being political. You can you personally,
a whole other way. We could talk about so we have a solar system.
That Pluto is still a planet.
Pluto is still a planet. There's one of my favorite memes about Pluto. When Pluto was first like demoted from being a planet, I found this meme. I regret that I didn't write it myself. And it has a picture of Pluto, and a little letter, and it says, "Dear NASA, your mom thought I was big enough." Signed, Pluto.
Oh my gosh.
And it's like the perfect meme for that. Yeah, so we have this solar system. Do you know why it's called the solar system?
Because it orbits our solar sun, and
The,
it's
the
around it.
Latin name for our sun, for our star, is Sol. SOL. So our system is the
Pronounced sol.
Sol. Okay, fine. Sol.
So
And just like our main satellite is called Luna. Yeah. Um, anyway, so we have this solar system, and it's got 9 planets. God damn it!
I declare.
Dagnamit, dagnamit. And the first one is Mercury, and then there's Venus and Earth and Mars. Now, what's interesting here is that um, you've got Venus and Mars on either side of the Earth, right? It's like the yin and the yang, the male and the female, right? Because Venus, the symbol for Venus the astrological symbol for Venus is the woman sign, and Mars is the male sign,
Yes,
right?
that's right. I know because I've watched Sailor Moon.
And,
I thought
exactly.
boys went to Jupiter to get more stupider.
Well, that's yes, that's where they go, but that's not where they come from. They come.
Oh, okay, got it.
Mars is also the god of war.
Yes. And in the name of Mars, I'll chastise you.
There you go. Yeah. Well, by Crom, I will. That was. You're not going to recognize the Conan reference. I'm still on Conan. Yeah. So I find that interesting. Also, Mars's 2 satellites are Phobos and Deimos, which were depending on which mythology you follow, they were either the children of Mars, or they were the horses that drew his chariot, and they may have been both. Yeah. And so the planet Mars has 2 satellites called Phobos and Deimos. And then after that is the asteroid belt. And I don't know if you've read you probably haven't read the Expanse novels, but in the Expanse novels, they had settled in the asteroid belt, and they had carved them out and created dwellings inside of them, and they would spin them so that they would create artificial gravity. It's very fascinating. We could do this for Earth Day, but really, I look at Earth Day, and this happens to me every year. I look at it and I go, why on earth do we have? I was about to swear. Why TF do we have an Earth Day? Why bother? Because we don't care. All right.
But what about the people that are like every day is Earth Day? Are they not making a difference?
Am I making a difference? Because that's how I see it. And my life is mostly carbon neutral. I have solar power for my house. My cars run on sunshine. I really use minimal resources. I do use some water, but I've replaced all of my landscaping with desert landscaping that uses very, very little water. You know, I'm doing my part, but it seems like I'm surrounded by people that are just, why, not my problem.
Honestly, I feel like everybody in America, at least, could be doing their part to the best of their abilities, and there would still be corporations doing the majority of the damage. I mean,
If
I
everybody,
feel like we could only do so much before we have to start making ethical consumption choices too. I feel like that goes a long way as well, because like most of these places will screw over the earth for an extra like 5% a year to end.
yeah, and somehow they've gaslighted, you know, a tremendous swath of Americans into thinking that's, you know, somehow the virtuous way to live. This is where this is where I just can't separate the politics from it. You know, I drive down the highway in my electric car, and some macho pickup truck with bull testicles hanging from the back of the trailer hitch, and and Trump bumper stickers on his back window, and I don't know, they don't have rifle mounts in the back of their trucks anymore. I don't know why. They used to, you know, you used to see that a lot. Maybe it was when I was living in Texas I saw that a lot. But and he'll come along and he'll coal roll me. They do this thing with their diesel engines where they cut you off, they slam on the brakes, and they do this thing with their engine that makes it blast a bunch of black smoke at you. And they think that this is virtuous somehow. This is like their version of mine's bigger than yours. And, you know, I don't understand. It makes no sense to me in my,
I'm not going to judge somebody who has a truck because they're not the ones putting the majority of the dent in our atmosphere. Yeah, okay, maybe all the trucks combined, yes, but like there are corporations who are doing so much more damage. So, I mean, I'm not gonna come at somebody who owns a truck and be like, "Oh, I'm better than you." Have you seen that South Park episode about the Priuses?
yes, I have. I
The
haven't,
smug? I don't know, because that's not gonna do anything. That's not gonna make a difference. It's only gonna further alienate. I think it's only gonna further alienate them to be like, yeah, okay, yeah, I should keep my truck and I should keep doing what I'm doing. It's like, oh, you're so much better than me. Why do you think you're so much better than me? And it's like, no, I don't want to think that way.
I don't, it's not the truck. The truck is just part of the stereotype. It's the attitude that is pushed by the corporate interests, you know, who want to make money off of oil and want to make money off of, you know, spending a lot of energy. They push a certain narrative, and that is picked up and embraced by people who don't see the value in thinking for themselves. And you know, I'm reminded of this quote. I need to find it. Yeah, there it is. Isaac Asimov. I don't know if do you know who Isaac Asimov was? Isaac Asimov was a scientist and an author and one of the great grandmaster science fiction authors. And he said, "There's a cult of ignorance in the United States, and there has always been. A strain of anti-intellectualism has been constant thread winding its way through our political and cultural life, nurtured by the false notion that democracy means my ignorance is just as good as your knowledge." And when we look at the political climate today, there's a, a great number of people who look down their nose at education, look down their nose at intellectual thought, look down their nose at universities and scientists and science, and they think that it's all bullshit, and that their common sense is superior. And this is pushed by the politicians who know better, and it's pushed by the corporate interests who pay the politicians and who also know better. And it breaks my heart, because as somebody who's embraced learning and science and rigorous scientific method and education, because I'm an educator primarily, it breaks my heart that people are being trained to believe that education is woke, that it's evil and all of that. And you look at somebody like Ron DeSantis, who himself is well educated. He knows better. But he's pushing all this stuff, which he knows is false, because it gets him the power and celebrity and followers and all that he desires. And all of this is tied in with Earth Day, because these people who deny that climate is changing, who deny that it's changing as a result of human intervention, they're pushing a narrative that is contrary to all of the evidence. And the scientific community has demonstrated without a doubt that this is exactly what's going on, that we are destroying the environment. And I get these people, who argue with me, oh, well, it hasn't been proven beyond it. I'm like, okay. So let's say, just for argument's sake, does it hurt you to recycle? Does it hurt you to pick up your trash? Does it hurt you to not pollute the water and not pollute the air? I mean, who's hurting, for us to try and make these changes to preserve the earth for our children? Their position makes no sense. Anyway, that's what I got. How's our viewership doing, Ricky?
We're at 3 right now.
Yeah, 3 people are actually paying attention to all these words coming out of my mouth.
Well, there's 3 and 2 likes, which is a good ratio, I'd say.
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty good. It's going to get better as we move forward with our plan.
So, okay, I brought up thrifting the last time we talked about Earth Day, and I think that that's important too. And I want to bring up a thought experiment for you, because I went after work yesterday, I went out to Goodwill, the local one, with a friend of mine, and it's the second time I've been there in the last couple months, and I normally go a lot more often, but I've noticed this trend. The Goodwills, ever since getting a new CEO a couple months back, maybe sometime last year, they are pricing shit at astronomical levels, like shit that they got for free. Shit. Okay, I found this really cute little like mushroom statue thing for someone's garden. I recognized it immediately because I have the exact same one from Dollar Tree. The exact same one, Dollar Tree. This was used, given to Goodwill for free, priced at $3.99. I found a box yesterday, an empty box, priced at like $4 at $3.99 also. And I was like, what the hell? This is an empty ass box that they want $4 for? That's ridiculous.
Like a cardboard box?
Yes. Cardboard box that was originally like maybe a tea set or something was in there originally. Cardboard box for $4. They wanted for a super old photo frame that was super beat up. Those are normally $1 to $1.50, maybe $2 for a nice frame. They wanted $7.99 for this frame. And I'm like, whoever is pricing at this Goodwill lately is on crack, but it's a problem now with several Goodwills. I found a coffee machine there, and the coffee machine was $80. And it was like a regular, not even a Keurig, like a regular coffee machine a Black and Decker with like carafe and everything.
I'm just,
And they wanted $80 for it, and it wasn't even in the box.
I'm just,
And I went to Salvation Army after that, and they had a similar coffee machine for $15, which is the normal price for a coffee machine. $7 if you get it half off on sale. So my question is then, is it ethical to steal from a Goodwill that is on meth with its pricing? That's my question. And I have an obvious answer to this. Is it ethical to steal from a Goodwill who is pricing like their lead pricer has a brain tumor? Answer this for me, please. Settle the debate.
So, ethics is an interesting question because it's entirely subjective, but I want to just backtrack and tell you how amused I am at the term regular degular. I love that.
I'm glad you like it.
So is it ethical to steal from those whom
No. From Goodwill specifically, and not just all Goodwills specifically. Goodwills that are pricing like they don't know their target demographic and like they don't know that they got this stuff for free.
So Goodwill. Okay, let's talk about Goodwill in particular then. Goodwill is I'm trying to remember. I used to know these details.
Look up the new CEO and then tell me if it's ethical.
Just a second here. So Goodwill Industries is basically run by religious fanatics.
That's Salvation Army.
No, it's both of them. Salvation Army is one denomination. Goodwill is another denomination. I think they're Methodists, and they, they push their agenda. They lobby for anti-gay, anti-trans, Republican bullshit. So, if I'm going to talk about Goodwill, I'm going to throw that into the ethical mix in that, it's no secret that my opinion of organized religion is not generous.
So on Goodwill's website, it said they were founded by a reverend, yes, but they are not currently a religious organization. There might be some overtones there, but there's a difference between Goodwill, Salvation Army, and Deseret Industries. Deseret Industries, all the proceeds go to the Mormon Church, period.
I'm not
Same
gonna
thing, Salvation Army.
We can make that the subject of another episode. To your question in particular, when I'm thinking about ethics, I think about ethics in practical terms. All right. What is the consequences of my actions? Because, I could justify stealing from somebody that I think is taking advantage of people. I could justify that. And I could probably sleep at night, which would, be one way to look at ethics. But I think a more practical way to look at ethics is what is the consequences of my actions? Let's say, for example, that I get caught. What is the impact on, my life and the people that I care about and the people who care about me? What is the impact there? I think that's a good part of it. In terms of can you justify that? That's an individual subjective question. Clearly, you can justify it, but
Perhaps, but even if I can justify it, I want to preface this by saying that I'm not just going to say this because we're on a live stream, and I'm not just going to say this because my name's attached to this. I'm saying this because it's genuinely true. I have never stolen anything a day in my life, ever. I have not stolen from Goodwill. I will not steal from Goodwill the only reason is that I don't want to break my streak, right? It's a selfish reason, but I've never stolen from anything, and I want to still be able to say that like 30 years in the future, right? So I'm not going to steal from them. But my hypothetical question, my beliefs are that it is ethical to steal from Goodwill because they got all of that for free. They are making their billions of dollars anyway.
You're treating ethics as if it's a math problem, and it's not. Ethics is morality, And that is always, always going to be subjective and individual. It's not going to, it's not going to be, well, this person is bad and I'm good, and therefore, because all of your presuppositions are also subjective. She's thinking about it.
That's fair. I am thinking about it.
See the gears running in her head.
Maybe I do see it as a math problem. I've never been very good at seeing things in shades of gray. I'm kind of black and white in some ways. And when it comes to that, I'm like, that's the clear answer to me, right? Because if I steal from a Goodwill and it's less than $1,000, not only can they not prosecute me.
Arbitrary limit. What if it's $999.99?
I mean, that's still fine because they can't prosecute unless it's a felony. And if it's a misdemeanor, which is stealing anything under $1,000, then the law, according to law, they see it as misdemeanor, and according to Goodwill and Target, usually they will see it as until you hit the felony amount stolen.
You sound a lot more experienced at this than you're making out to be.
Okay, I swear on my cats, man, that I have never stolen anything ever. I picked a leaf up off the ground when I was 7 years old in a Home Depot. It was a fake leaf, an artificial leaf. And I got my ass beat so bad that day that it has traumatized me and scarred me for life from even like picking something up and putting it in my bag and taking off. Like I can't even in a store attempt to steal something without having war flashbacks and horrible PTSD about it. So I won't ever steal anything.
You're right. Not perfect. Your record is just perfect as an adult, but as a minor,
I picked up a leaf off the ground and I put it in my pocket. And no, my record is perfect because after I got my ass handed to me, my parents drove me back to that Home Depot and I put the fake plant leaf that was trash back on the floor where it came from. So my record's perfect.
Also, didn't we have to get background checks for these jobs so you would know?
Yeah. I
would know if our records weren't pristine.
The plant leaf didn't show up on the background check. I need to.
I corrected that. I corrected that a long time ago with Home Depot.
So, yeah. Just for the record here, and for those who don't know, Ricky, in addition to her role as producer of the International Geek of Mystery show and international live stream of Geek of Mystery show thing, Ricky also serves as my personal assistant, and that role, absolutely, it's somebody who comes into my home and does stuff here, and I do run a background check, and Kirsten does the books and is privy to a lot of other private and proprietary information. So both of them have been through background checks. Me as a boss, I'm exempt. I don't have to.
Don't worry, I ran my own background check on you.
I have in the past background checks and
Been shocked.
Other security. What do they call it when you get and security clearances. For my work with NASA way back when, and other work, consulting work that I've done since then. I did some work for the Navy, and I've done some work for other, but so enough of that. For those reasons to me are enough, and so I don't, I can put the whole ethical question, I can treat it as an intellectual exercise, or as you put it, a thought experiment, or
Right. Intellectual exercise is a good way to put it.
But when I do it that way, then I want to say, okay, well, what is ethics? And ethics is not math. Ethics is not, well, they did one big bad thing and they did two good things. If that were the case, then, you could go out and murder somebody, but as long as you went and saved two other people's lives, then the scales would somehow be balanced. And in my view, my my concept of good and evil does not allow for that. My concept of good and evil is I can't do evil things. I can't do bad things and still call myself good. And you know, doing bad things against bad people doesn't make them any less bad people and doesn't make me any more of a good person. On the other hand, if I show kindness to bad people, that may actually even inspire some goodness in them. Even if it doesn't, just the kindness itself makes me feel good and gives me some satisfaction that I've done. I put some good into the world. And so that's, you know, that's how I see ethics. I can't look at it.
Well then, okay, if that's how you see ethics, and then I'll debate you on this, because if I give Goodwill that $4 for the item that they have gotten for free, and they use 2 cents of that to pay their employees, and they use $3.98 of that to then turn around and donate to anti-LGBT groups, then it would be ethical to steal. And I think if I'm doing good into the world, right? If I'm gonna steal 5 pairs of jackets, and then turn around and go give them for free.
No. You jumped off the rail halfway through your thing. If given all the math of where the money goes, to me, the best way to respond to that, the most positive way to respond to that, is to take my business elsewhere. And
Yes. Okay, I see that.
Let them starve. Not so much their employees, but they might have to lower their prices. They might have to pay their employees more. They may have to stop donating to the evil causes. If, you know, I don't know, you know, I'm not going to give my money to them. I've stopped going to Goodwill and I've stopped going to Salvation Army. I don't know about the Mormon when you were talking about.
Because they're religious?
Not because they're religious, but because they support hateful policies in government.
Doesn't everyone have their own?
So I haven't actually seen anything about that with Goodwill. I did not know that Goodwill was donating to anti-LGBT causes. I know Chick-fil-A does, which is one of the reasons I don't eat there anymore. But I didn't know that about Goodwill. I did know that about DI, or Deseret Industries. I did know that about Salvation Army. But it's like, okay, well then what is the alternative? If I don't want to buy something brand new for full price, what's the alternative? If I want to reduce, reuse, recycle, and help do my part in saving the earth.
Privately owned and operated thrift stores. There's lots of them everywhere.
Right, but a lot of the times people don't like shopping at small businesses or boutiques or thrift stores, which usually cover themselves as like antique stores. Because it's a small business, they can't match that thrift store price. So they usually have to.
So a good friend of mine in Denton, Texas.
I went to school there.
Yeah. Did you go to UNT?
My freshman year.
UNT is like one of the top music schools in the world.
Yes.
For that.
Yeah, we had live. So I was a dance major there. And for all of our dance classes, we had live musicians.
Yeah, their 1 o'clock jazz band is legendary.
Yes, absolutely.
My mentor, Lee Tomboulian, went to school there, and he was in the 1 o'clock band. He was their piano.
No way.
He was, and I actually know a lot of people in Denton because one of my spiritual guides has an ashram in Denton. But anyway, a friend of mine in Denton who has an autistic child started a thrift store to support autism and autism education in the Denton area. And it's called—
That's right.
It's called Austin's Autistic Adventures. And you know, I donate stuff to them all the time. That's where
right. Yes, you did. You donated a computer to them a couple months ago.
we sent them a computer a couple months ago because they
Right.
desperately needed one. and,
Right.
they use it to project games and shows for the kids. They have
That's
a bunch
cool.
of autistic kids there all the time, and
Yeah.
um,
There's one of those where there's a similar thrift store where all the proceeds go to autism in Tampa, Florida.
yeah, well, I'm sure they're all over the place, and not just autism, which, as an autistic person, I think is an excellent cause, and we
Yeah.
should supporting those kids as much as we can so that they can grow up and live happy and productive lives without going through all the trauma that I had to go through to get here. So, but you just have to hunt for them, and maybe it's a little more trouble, and maybe it's a little bit more expensive, but for my ethics, okay, so for my ethics, I almost 100% refuse to donate to national charities because there's very, very few of them that are run ethically, in my view, and very, very few of them that don't have some agenda that conflicts with my morality. And so I do have one charity here in Vegas that I donate to regularly, and that is safenest.org. Um, I, f- I found them. Um, so I've always had this thing wherever I live, I want to give to a women's shelter because they tend to be very local and they tend to be very, very necessary. I'm one of these people that believe that women and children are the most valuable members of our society because they are necessary just for the practical reason of keeping our species alive, right? And they tend to be they tend to be more often abused and treated badly. And so wherever I live, I'll always look for the local women's shelter and I'll make donations to them regularly. Here in Vegas, I found safenest.org, and they take in women, especially single moms who have been abused and are looking for a safe place to live and transition into a new life after leaving their abusive situation. And so, that's the one charity that I donate to. And you'll see every year on my birthday on Facebook, I put up a little thing and I usually raise a few $1,000s for them, which is, and I do it anonymously. That's the other thing. All of my giving is 100% anonymous. I don't want, there's, people don't know this about me, but I've actually read the Bible, as they say, lid to lid, and more than a couple of times. And one of my favorite passages is where Jesus says that those who stand on the street corner and pray are receiving their reward in full. In other words, the attention that they get is their reward. But those who hide in the cupboard and pray, their their reward is in heaven. And I take that as meaning that if I donate and my name ends up on a list, that's my reward, and that's not the reward that I want. The reward I want is in my heart. I don't happen to believe in the afterlife and in heaven and all that, but I want just the reward in my heart. I just want to know in my heart that I've done something good, and that to me means that my donations must be anonymous. So the SafeNest.org people, they don't know that all this money is coming from me. They just get these anonymous donations and they just feel grateful and do their good work, which is their reward. So anyway, that's how I treat charity. And as somebody who has been blessed in my life with a measure of prosperity, I consider it important. You
And
raised
isn't that another kind of like extension of Earth Day, like giving back? Maybe not necessarily to the earth, but
How is that not to the earth?
just because just giving to people.
That's the other thing I do is every once in a while, I'll at least once a month I'll tip somebody $100 bill, and I'll like leave it under my coffee cup at the diner, um, or hand it to at the grocery checkout lady looks like she's having a bad day, or there's some single mom juggling two kids and trying to pay for her groceries, you know. Um, so I do tend to favor women and children, as I've said. But
What is this, the Titanic?
uh,
All women and children to the lifeboats.
yeah, Ricky, you had your hand up.
I did. I just wanted to plug my favorite thrift store in Vegas was the Hearts Alive Village one where all the proceeds went to their cats and dogs, mostly cats because, but that one recently closed because they expanded into a cat cafe, which is awesome. But they opened up another one called Good Stuff Thrift Store off of Decatur and Vegas Drive. And there's a couple other thrift stores called like Dog Junkies is another one here in Vegas where the proceeds go to animal shelters.
There you go. Just go there instead of the damn Goodwill.
Yeah, good point. I do go there. I like it there.
You said they raise money for cats and dogs, and I was about to tell you about this place in Chattanooga, or I guess more so like Ringgold, Georgia, but it's very blurred lines. Like all of those like states in the middle of the US, like you could live in Georgia, but on the other side of Chattanooga, or you can like live in Kentucky on the other side of Tennessee, and people will just make up wherever they live. That's what we did. Like if we needed to live in Kentucky, we'd tell people, "Oh yeah, we live in Kentucky," because our backyard was Kentucky, but our physical house was in Tennessee. But they have a cafe where you go in, you get your coffee, and there's cats just running around everywhere.
Well, my sister-in-law worked at one in Hollywood.
Okay, so you've been to one.
Oh
Okay.
yeah. Oh yeah. They're the best. I love cat cafes. She worked at the mainstream one, Crumbs and Whiskers. She was a manager there for a long time. And we would always go and see the cats, and it was always amazing. Yeah, cat cafes are fun.
Yeah. So, you can play that game in Texas where you can just make up a name of a town, and chances are the town actually exists.
That is correct. We played that game many a times.
Because there are so many crazy names of towns in Texas. I used to joke about Barf, Texas, and I don't know if that's real or not. I could look it up. It probably is. All right, we're getting the signal that our time is up. It has gone too fast. We've had a great time. Um, I love just shooting the shit with y'all.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you for tuning in. How many did we end up with, Ricky?
Good question. Because you're asking a different question than how many do we have now? So I'll get you a good answer. Hold on. 11. Not currently 11 total so
11.
far.
So that's going in the right direction. We're growing. And I predict that in a few months we'll be regularly in double digits and regularly in triple digits, and that'll be awesome. Thank you all for tuning in. We love you, and we will see you Monday morning, bright and early and bushy-tailed and
Probably still tired.
Bye, y'all.